Hello, everyone. This is Monet Zayed, and welcome back to Medical Arabic. And we'll be starting patient interview number 5. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be covering the rest of medical history. So, the OB-GYN history, psychiatric history, and then we'll delve into surgical history as well as therapies and allergies. All right, let's get started. First off is OB-GYN history. Period is al-dawra. Next up is pregnancy, which is haml. Haml uses that airy H sound again that might be a little bit challenging. So haml is pregnancy. Next up is menopause. So menopause, it sort of translates into a different word. So sin means age technically, and then elias means like older age in women. So sin elias is menopause. Abortion or miscarriage, they're pretty synonymous in this case, is ijhad or ighad, depending on your dialect. Ijhad. Next up is contraception. It's made up of 2 words. So mana al-haml. So haml, if you remember, means pregnancy. Mana means blocking or stopping. So it translates to stopping or blocking pregnancy. Mana al-haml is contraception. Mammography is taswir al-thadi. Taswir means taking a picture. So it's concept of a mammograph is imaging the breast. So taking a picture is taswir al-thadi. Taswir al-thadi is mammography. Pap smear is مسحة عنق الرحم. So this one's also a long few words that it translates to separate words. So مسحة means a wipe or a smear. عنق means like the neck. And then الرحم is uterus. So if you imagine how a uterus looks like, it has like the body and then the neck of it. So when you do a pap smear, that's what you're targeting, sort of the neck of the uterus. So مسحة عنق الرحم. مسحة عنق الرحم is pap smear. Now, if you want to turn it into a sentence instead of just individual words, you want to ask, when was your last, and then either period, pap smear, or mammogram. So meta is when was, is when. Kanat is was. Meta kanat is when was, and then akhir means your last. So meta kanat akhir, when was your last? So if you remember from the last side, period is dawra. You would say meta kanat akhir dawra. When was your last period? مسحة عنق الرحم is pap smear. متى كانت آخر مسحة عنق الرحم? When was your last pap smear? And then mammogram is taswir al-thadi. So if you want to ask when was your last mammogram, you'd say متى كانت آخر taswir al-thadi. Have you gone through menopause? So مريت is have you gone through. Sin al-yas. So sin al-yas is menopause, and then the bih just makes the sentence flow more smoothly. مريت بسن al-yas. Have you gone through menopause? Another review for that word pregnancy is haml. Haml is pregnancy. Hamalti is have you been pregnant? So kam marra. Kam means how many. Then times is marra. Have you been pregnant? حملتي. كم مرة حملتي? And then if you remember, contraceptives means منع الحمل. To make it plural, it's موانع. موانع is the plural for contraceptive. So منع just means one contraceptives. موانع would be multiple. So موانع الحمل is contraceptives. بتستعملي, do you use? بتستعملي موانع الحمل. And keep in mind, this Arabic is also a gendered language like many other languages. So this is targeting بتستعملي بتستعملي, the E part is as if you're talking to a woman. So بتستعملي موانع حمل. Do you use contraceptives? All right, moving on to psychiatric illnesses. If you want to say stress, for example, if you're asking about any stressors at work, stress means ضغط أعصاب or ضغط نفسي. If you remember, blood pressure means ضغط الدم. So in this case, it's saying like neural or psychological pressure. You can say أعصاب or نفسي. So nerves, like being really nervously stressed, or نفسي means like your psychological state. ضغط أعصاب or ضغط نفسي is stress. Depression is اكتئاب. اكتئاب is depression. Next up is anxiety. This also varies by dialect. So you can say قلق. Some dialects drop the heavy Q sounds and just say قلق. You can say anxiety is قلق or قلق. Insomnia is أرق. Generally, they don't always drop the heavy cough sound. It's just, yeah, you know, some words yes, some words no. It just depends. But insomnia is أرق. Moving on to surgical history. Have you ever had any accidents or injuries? So yes, I'll separate it into section by section. صار معك. Have you ever had is صار معك. A is any. A is any. حادث is accident. O, even I guess another way to spell it like in English is OW or AW, but O means or. إصابة means injury. إصابة is injury. من قبل or من قبل, that just means in the past. You don't have to say that. You can just say صار معك أي حدث أو إصابة. You don't have to say the من قبل or من قبل. That just means in the past. You just assume it happened in the past. صار معك أي حدث أو إصابة من قبل. Have you had any accidents or injuries in the past? Now, next is, have you had any surgeries in the past? So it is, have you had. You can also say صار معك. It's all synonymous, just different ways of saying things. So it is, have you had. Any, again, is a. عمليات. عمليات is surgeries, plural. If you want to say one surgery, it's عملية. عملية is one surgery, عمليات is multiple surgeries. And then من قبل or من قبل, depending on the dialect, is in the past. سويت أي عمليات من قبل. سويت أنا أي عمليات من قبل. Have you had any surgeries in the past? Continued on to ask more details about the specific surgery. So what was the surgery for? Two different ways of saying what was the surgery. What was is when or lish. Lish kind of means the reason or why was the surgery done. So you can say when or lish for what was. كانت is was. So you say when كانت or lish كانت. And then remember the singular for surgery is عملية. So the surgery is العملية. So sum it up. ليش كانت العملية is what was the surgery for. And then you just want to know, how did the surgery go? So again, surgery is عملية. كيف is how. كانت is, I guess, did or how did it, like the past tense for what happened. So كيف كانت العملية. كيف كانت العملية. How did the surgery go? And this is just some other common surgical terms used for reasons for surgery and what happened in them. Break or to break is كسر. كسر. Break. Bleed is نزيف. نزيف is bleed. Rupture is تمزق. تمزق is rupture. And then surgery or operation, like we talked about before, is عملية. عملية. So كسر, نزيف, تمزق, and عملية. Common surgical terms. Now moving on to therapies. We call it therapies because it can include medical therapies, or it can include like alternative therapies, like honey, if people use any sort of other like vitamins and that sort of thing. So if you remember in the past, dawa is medicine or medications. So بتاخد, do you take? A is any again. Dawa is medications. So بتاخد أي دواء. بتاخد أي دواء. Do you take any medications? How many times? كم means how many times. مرة. مرة is times. كم مرة. And then you can specify like how many times per day would be كم مرة باليوم. كم مرة باليوم. If you want to say per week, for example, you can say كم مرة بالأسبوع. أسبوع means week. أسبوع. So كم مرة is how many times. And then you want to ask, do you use any alternative therapies? Do you use is بتستعمل. بتستعمل. A is any again. And then tib badil. Badil means alternative, and tib just kind of means therapy or medical. So بتستعمل أي tib badil. Do you use any alternative therapies? Moving on to allergies. The word for allergy is حساسية. حساسية. Kind of a fun word. حساسية. عندك is do you have, do you have. A is any. And then allergies حساسية. عندك أي حساسية. Some common causes. You want to ask like what happens when they take that substance. So some of the common responses would be itch, rash, swelling, or congestion. So itch is حكة. حكة is itch. Rash is تفاح. تفاح is rash. Swelling is ورم. ورم, you sort of roll your R's if you have that ability. ورم, oops, is swelling. ورم is swelling. And then congestion is احتقان. 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 I do want to bring up, there's another word called for itching or rash that I use. If you know the medical term for urticaria, I don't know if you've heard of that before, but sometimes you can say urticaria. So it sort of means itch or rash. I've used that in the past before in the Egyptian dialect. Urticaria can also mean itch or rash, very similarly to the term of urticaria in English. All right, moving on to common allergies. So milk is halib. Some dialects say leban as well, but keep in mind leban can also mean yogurt in other dialects. So personally, I say leban for milk, but in other dialects, leban means yogurt. But formally, milk is halib. Eggs are bayd or bid. Eggs is bid, bayd. Nuts is mukassarat. Mukassarat is nuts. If you want to specify like peanuts or pistachios, it varies across the dialects, but you can say fustuk. Fustuk. Shellfish is mahar. Mahar is shellfish. Again, has that airy H sound, mahar. Wheat is kamh or amh. Some people drop that heavy K or Q sound. Wheat is kamh or amh. I apologize for the image being kind of obstructing the words, but this is penicillin. There isn't really a formal Arabic word for penicillin, but there isn't a P sound in the Arabic alphabet, so you sort of replace it with the B sound. So penicillin is penicillin or penicillin. And then next up is seasonal allergies. So allergies again is حساسية. And then seasonal means موسمية. موسمية. So seasonal allergies is حساسية, موسمية. All right, just a bit of a cultural background. We wanted to talk about religions briefly. So, a lot of people assume that all Arabs are Muslim, which isn't true. In the Middle East, and I highlighted the different countries that composes the Arab world. So Islam is actually makes up 85% of the religion. Christianity makes up 5%, and Judaism makes up 9%. Of course, there's many other religions. And then Coptic Christmas isn't, the December 25th like we have in the United States. It's early January usually. I know it was a few days ago, but yeah, we reuse these slides for our usual sessions in person at our program. So yeah, we just wanted to give you some background on Arabic culture as well. And yes, as always, feel free to review this at any time and go over some of the other words. And as always, keep practicing, and thank you for joining us.